This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at the Ruskin Group Theater for the world premiere of It's Time.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here.
Edward Edwards. I'm the director of It's Time. I've been an actor for all my life, practically, ever since I was in grade school, actually. But I've been directing now for the past 15 years. I've been doing the theater scene here. I've directed at USC. As an actor, I've been on Broadway a couple times and won some awards here in the local theater. I'm currently with an organization called Global Arts Corps, which is an international organization. We're dealing with theater pieces, how it can help people come to terms with many different things. Our current production that we've worked on, we just finished. We worked with children in Cambodia whose parents were killed in the Khmer Rouge. They are now acrobats and performers, and they have no history or remembrance of exactly what the Khmer Rouge was. And so we posted the idea of can you move forward in your life if you don't know what your history was. And so we've created this piece. We played it in Cambodia. We took it to Rwanda, into the refugee camps, and had thousands and thousands of refugee children come to see this performance, which was remarkable. We're trying to raise money now to bring it to the United States. And I also work with an organization called Children's Craniofacial Association, which deals with children with craniofacial deformities and stuff like that. And the whole point of that organization is to promote kindness and to understand that we are all, underneath everything else, the same, and that we all need to be kind to one another.
Were you on Family Ties?
I was on Family Ties, as a matter of fact.
You played Mr. Tedesco?
Mr. Tedesco. That was one of my all-time favorite roles. That was kind of a turning point for me. It was really a remarkable role, and people unremarkably remember it all these years later.
So. I love that role. This guy is such a character. He's such a swarmy character. It exudes so much life. I just love that character.
Oh, well, thank you very much. This is so nice of you to remember. That was a long time ago, but yeah, people that saw it remember it very well.
Yeah,
so.
It just burned in my mind, because when I saw you, that can't be him, because I just love that character. And it was only like for one episode, but it was just, I'm sorry, yeah. I don't mean to gush like this.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of that.
So basically, in regard to this play, why did you decide to do this anyway?
Well, Paul and I met a number of years ago here at the Ruskin. I directed a production of All My Sons, and he played the father in the show, and we became really good friends. And we had a mutual friend that died in an avalanche, a skiing accident, and so we kind of had a shared grief with that. He was a very good friend of ours. And we just developed a friendship over the years, and we started having conversations about death and dying. We had started to work on a show about death and dying, and when he told me about Time Flies, because I had seen Time Flies, I had never seen it live, but I saw it on HBO and the film version of it, and we talked about that, and so we started thinking about how to maybe bookend that show with his life as time has moved on. And I remarked to him that I felt like the miracle in his life was that he did come through that, and that the miracle was Christine, that someone came into his life and did that. So we started working on this project about a year ago, and last Valentine's Day, as a Valentine to his wife, we did a workshop production of this at the Miles Playhouse to start exploring some of the material that we were going to use in the show. And then the Ruskin Theater graciously came forward and offered us the space to do some more workshops, and so about 4 or 5 months ago we did 3 or 4 performances as a workshop again, and then they decided, would you please do a production of it? And so we've worked for the past 6 weeks refining it and putting it together and coming up with new stories, and we changed everything till yesterday. We had our final change yesterday, so we're kind of set right now with what we're doing, and I think it's a lovely show.
When I look at the show, well, usually when I review a show, basically my highest recommendation is that I love this. I looked at the show. I was actually touched by it. So I don't know how to say this, but it had almost a spiritual aspect to it, even though it wasn't about God, but it was about life. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. You know, when you talk about time, because I think it was St. Augustine who said that he knows what time is, but until he was asked to explain it, and he couldn't. And I think the bigger dialogue that comes when you start talking about time, I think the dialogue that happens, it becomes about free will, and you decide what you want to do with time, and that's what free will is. And so we didn't want to be preachy, we didn't want to knock anybody over the head, but when you're open and you reveal yourself and your thoughts about that, and are able to openly share thoughts about these significant events in your life that affect everybody in life, well, we thought that was important, and it was time for us to try and break down those walls of why people are reluctant to talk about those things. So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, again, I give it a very high rating. I do love it, but I was just deeply touched by it. So that's something that's just left something in my life. It made me think about, why am I here? How about what's my family like? Where do I stand in the community and all that? So it's very moving in that sense. So for that, I'm actually very grateful.
Oh, thank you very much. That's what we want. We wanted people to start their own dialogues in their own lives. That was our hope, is that you stop being reluctant and you look at that and you actually take action. And you start that conversation with the people that you love and care about.
Okay. Once again, I really love the piece. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with...
I'm Paul Link. I'm just recovering from my opening weekend of It's Time, a one-man show that I wrote and I perform. And you just attended the matinee, and here we are. It's just 15 minutes after the show, and I got changed, and I'm ready to talk to you.
Great. Well, first of all, I love the piece. It actually touched me. I mean, I usually don't say that about a piece. I mean, usually if I think my audience is going to love this, I give a high rating. I loved it. This particular piece, I was actually touched by it.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that, when I was first of all, as a solo show, it's very hard to promote a solo show because it's all on word of mouth. Really, when you think about it, I can't depend on the other cast members to bring their families. So, and my whole family was there today, so that's it. But I said, and I was kind of facetious on Facebook, but I really believed it. I said, if you're not moved and you don't laugh, I'll give you your money back. And I still believe that because, and it sounds so, I'm very self-effacing. I'm not that way. But I don't know how else to encourage people to come, because if you come, then you get it. It's hard to explain exactly what it is until you experience it.
For me, it was almost spiritual. I mean, it didn't talk about God or anything like that, but it did talk about your place in the community. It talked about your life. What's your purpose here? I mean, why are we even here? So I was touched on it at a spiritual level, even though it had nothing to do with religion or anything like that.
Well, I really appreciate that, because I totally agree with that, and it is not religious at all. But I do think there's some spirituality involved, only in the sense, the way I look at it is, the audience brings their life force with them, and I try to bring my life force to it. My goal is to open my heart, to let that force go at them. Because my whole concept is that if I do that, their hearts will be triggered to open as well. The forces will meet, and that's where the magic is. So I always like to joke, what sound does one solo performer in the woods make? Without the audience, there can't. It requires the two partners. It's a dance, and I'd like to think that I'm working on a level that's. They don't even realize fully what's happening, but I bet you'll be thinking about this later. That's what I've heard from people,
Yeah, it definitely kind of defines yourself. It's like, it asks you the question, again, almost like the tree of life. Where are you on the tree of life? Are you a dead branch? I mean, what about all the people falling in front of you? Do they add to your life in any way? I mean, are you a different person because of them?
Well, I think that's a question one needs to ask, because your time is so limited. As I said in the show, although I have to say I screwed up the ending tonight, we've only been given whatever. We don't know how much time we have, and it's something we all share in common, is that fate. And so I think that begets the question, why does that not make people kinder and more compassionate? And basically, why does that not promote love? What I say is there's only love and fear isn't real. So, I mean, you could, in a very sort of satirical way, reduce my entire show to a Rodney King moment. Who ironically said one of the most profound things that has ever been said, which is, why can't we all get along? I mean, that's being very simplistic, but, I tell a story about being a widower and having 3 little kids, and now I've been married 25 years to the love of my life. How did I get here? What was grief like? Something people don't talk about. What was that like? How does that happen? And I do think, again, not to be self-promoting, but I do think we need to hear some good stories, some happy stories. We're living in a time right now that is so divisive, and so in my lifetime I remember feeling like this, and feeling where people are so, you can't just disagree with someone. You're there, like, I hear the word enemy used, and I'm going, no, wait a minute. That's, a Republican or a Democrat is not an enemy. Russia's an enemy. We're all kind of in this together. Come on. So maybe in the midst of all this horror, that's going on around us, as some of my audience members have said to me, we need to hear this story now because we need to be reminded that there's only love.
Okay. I've seen some one-person shows before that were somewhat autobiographical or inspired by their lives. Some of them I thought weren't that good because they were like, "Oh, I met so and so back then." Yeah,
it's dicey. It's dicey.
Yeah, other people. I remember Orson Bean once did a show that actually shocked me.
Safe at Home.
Yeah, it just shocked me.
Yeah, I saw it. It was really good.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot about this show because it actually brings out the ugliness in a person, the unattractive stuff, things you don't want to tell people like this, But it actually makes it real. It makes it. You connect with it. This is about about actual life.
Right. Well, I feel that you if you don't talk about the truth, if you're telling the truth, then it's not all attractive, and you got to be sometimes willing. I remember my first show, Time Flies When You're Alive. There was a moment in the play where I said to my then 6-year-old boy, "You." My father was horrified. He said, "You can't say that." I said, "I have to say it because people have to know that when your wife dies, the level of anger and just despair that one exists." I said, "That is the truth." And of course, in the story, I also apologized to him for saying that and all that stuff. But, I think that you got to, if you're out there, you can never be out there to show everyone how great you are. That's a mistake. And also, you can never show anyone what a victim. I've created a lot of one-person plays for other people, and you got to stay away from ever being a victim. No one cares. We all have problems. I just try to, I don't know how to describe it. I try to live my life in a way, and I try to remember things. And when this show started to come into my mind, when my director Edward Edwards said, "Have you, the real story is Christine." Edward said that to me. I went, "Yeah, but who cares about a happy story, really?" And then I realized how to tell it. And actually, Orson Bean really helped me. He doesn't know it, but I went and saw a show, and I figured, okay, he talks about Allie, who I knew back before they were together. She and I were on a KCET special together, and I watched him talk about Allie, and I went, if he can talk about Allie, I know I can talk about Christine. Because it's talking about love, and it's something that's, I'm very lucky.
Yeah, one thing I like about this also, in my show, I try to, it's not just, telling people about promotion, not just the stuff that you read in the press release. It's actually about the actor themselves. In this, you actually learn about an actor's life. It's like it's not all glamour. It's actually very normal. It's just like everyone else's. Also, your revelation to becoming an actor and all that, it was all in there. So it's something you can really, really sink your teeth in if you want to find out what show business really is about. The people,
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the opening is I call it my cold opening because I tell a story that's so off the wall. I want to get people hooked before they even know that I'm going to lower the boom on them. because I know what's coming. But it is true that I actually was telling that story at dinner one night to some people, and they were in awe. And I went, okay, I think I'll use that to open my show.
One last thing. I'm going to cut this thing into it. Could I get a brief bio of you?
Of course. Graduate of USC. I have a master's, MFA from them as an actor. I started making a living in 1974. I did my first job ever as the baby maker in 1971, which was a Jim Bridges film. He very kindly put me in a movie. I played Sam the hippie. Gave it up. Never thought I could make a living at it. Decided I'd give it a shot in 74. After spending time on the Garden Theater Festival, I realized, yeah, you only live once. Let's do it. I got an agent. I started to get work. I actually moved to a commune to start my career because I figured if I didn't work, at least the rent was only $35, $40 if you wanted food. And so, but then I was starting to get jobs, and I couldn't stay in the commune because there was only a payphone, and it doesn't work with an agent to have a payphone. So I finally got an apartment and then a house, and with Chris, the guy I talked about, we got a house in the Laurel Canyon, and I started to get work, God bless, and then I was doing theater. It's always been about the plays. I did a little play at the Company Theater called The Pink Helmets by Michael McClure, a half-hour play, got good reviews. I played a comic guy. A director came, put me in a movie based on that play. And then when Chips was looking for a comic cop, the casting director had seen me in the movie. I never even auditioned for Chips. I literally went in, met everyone, made them laugh, and I started to work the next day. So I worked 5.5 years on Chips. Things I really am proud of. I was in the movie Parenthood. The thing I'm most proud of in my life is Time Flies When You're Alive, my one-man show that I wrote about my late wife who died. I wrote that in '87. I've done that 300 times. I did it for 25 years. I've done it all over the United States. I've done it in Europe and other countries. It's currently being done in Mexico in Spanish. It's being done in France with 2 characters. And I got to tell you, I'm up there now, and I'm doing the show called It's Time, and I feel so proud of it because I feel like it's in the area of Time Flies. It's in the realm. It's like, it may have taken me 27 years to get a second one that I feel is of its merit, but I got it. And I'm going to hope that your listeners, whoever you are out there, come on down to the Ruskin Group Theater, Fridays at 8, Saturdays at 5, and Sundays at 2. That Saturday 5 o'clock show is cool, because you go out to eat right afterwards. It's 65 minutes long. I really don't think you'll be disappointed. In fact, I'll give you your money back.
Well, I don't think that'd be necessary because I enjoyed myself a lot. And again, I loved it. I was touched by it. And I think that's the best. I don't think I've ever given a review like that. I actually said I loved it and I was touched by it at the same time.
I'm very happy to have been the first guy to ever make that. And I'm glad that no one is rushing up to me right now asking me for their money.
Thank you once again for being on the show.
God bless, and thank you for supporting live theater.
It's Time will be playing at the Ruskin Group Theater from October 21st to December 4th. For more information, go to www.ruskingrouptheater.com.